PragICTS, expediting business outcomes.
Hello. What I want to discuss today relates to software engineering. And the question that surrounds it relates to the extreme volatility of the IT landscape. The IT landscape is subject to regular disruption, I would say, in a very unpredictable manner, due to the fast pace of innovation that is taking place in most quarters. And the pace of innovation is on an exponential trajectory, and there is no sign of easing out. Rather, it's getting, I could say, you can't say worse because all these are of great benefit. But that's the context of it. So in such fluidity, how should one look at software engineering? Because, the ground that you're standing on is not solid ground. Just to create some context now, if you look at it on one end, to take programming languages, I think there are about 700 plus programming languages in existence. And out of that, about 250 to 300 is in active use, in active deployment. That number itself, it's not 5 or 6. 250 plus. So there itself, if one were to look at one software development stack, where do you start? How do you go about? All of these technologies can have their own justifications. So everything is relative. Then look at the context, the general context. OpenAI came to the fold in a flash and made an AI a public topic. Thereafter, it's followed by Microsoft, Google, Meta, and all of that. And with that, so many models. And then you hear about DeepSeek. Now it has come forward with a model that is based open source. And from China, it's not the only AI that has surfaced. There is Alibaba, and I can name many. Then another context is, AI chips. Market was dominated by NVIDIA. And they seems to be the most predominant and dominant player. Now Huawei has come to the fold with their own chips. And the other dynamic is that Huawei has come up with Harmony OS as well. So these are the few things that we know from the media. So just imagine what must be cooking in all quarters behind closed doors. And what is to pop out tomorrow, we do not know. And the technology is, the innovation is coming at such a pace is that what seems to be relevant and sexy today is old and irrelevant tomorrow. So, such unimaginable fluidness you get in the IT landscape. So, how does one look at software engineering from a perspective of how much of engineering effort one needs to exert for any given solution when the ground that you are sitting on is all fluid. So few things that I can think of is, one thing is that no name for perfection. It's a relative thing. When the ground that you're standing is so fluid and is full of disruption, how can you aim for perfection in engineering? That's a non-starter itself. Second thing is that, look at the minimum engineering that is required. Again, goes back to the thing, why? Everything is on a change, everything is on a roll. Why produce an elephant when the requirement is for a goat, as they say? Because if you keep the engineering to the minimum, you have the flexibility to adjust and expand as you want. Here also in this context, over engineering is also a cost and a waste, and under engineering also is the same due to this fluidness on the IT landscape. So keep the engineering to the minimum. Third thing is that, have an API driven strategy. Whether it is through platforms or whatever, have an API driven strategy so that you can decouple and hide the API integration points from the real implementation so that it can handle such changes and disruptions to a certain extent, not to the full extent. The next point I want to stress is that, wherever common functionality, security, credentials management, you can have a list of things. If there are established frameworks, deploy them. Don't try to go and reinvent per se. It doesn't make sense. Reinventing is, just takes effort and money. It doesn't make sense unless otherwise there is a specific context to it. And last but not least, keep things simple. There is this saying, is that simplicity is the best sophistication, always attributed to Leonardo da Vinci. So these are few things that I can think of. I'm surely there may be many, but the challenge remains. Most of these technologies that we talk, even AI, take IoT, sensors, all of these are these technologies which expands the envelope of IT is still in its transformational stages. It will continue to evolve. It will continue to, through that evolution, it will continue to standardize. And then certain building blocks, frameworks will appear. So one cannot, forecast what is going to take place tomorrow. So my suggestion is always, exert the amount of engineering to get the job done. Thank you.
PragICTS, expediting business outcomes.